So they,
Yeah.
As
right.
long as we have someone that can officiate from the DS, we need to start on time whether the chair is here or not.
That's my fault, because I lost track
Yeah.
of time too.
Out of respect for those people that get here on time, because we're gonna have just a little over 30 minutes to
Yep.
talk about the brochure, and that discussion will be over then.
Perfect.
Okay.
And he did say it wasn't, I guess he doesn't check his Gmail often, so he'll be here for the 6 o'clock
Okay,
meeting.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. Do you want to do roll call?
We don't have to do
We
roll
don't
call
have
for
to
this.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to take it off the agenda. We don't have to do call to order, pledge of allegiance, or roll call since it's not required a
Okay.
quorum.
All right, so we're just going to jump right in on the brochure. So this is something that we've been talking about, obviously, from January. It was something that we decided that was going to be a priority, was the marketing for HPV. So I'm just going to read the purpose to you real quick, is creation of an informational brochure and marketing material aimed at helping citizens, property and business owners understand the requirements regarding the properties within the St. Cloud Historic District. And we had the goal of having the brochures actually completed and printed by May 2022, so we can start handing them out to celebrate National Historic Preservation Month. And we have various places that we plan to distribute these. So I took the verbiage of the brochures to you all last month and got that approved. And now actually got a designer based on the feedback from the other brochures that you all reviewed. And this is basically what we have in front of you. So if you all like what I've put together and like the content of it, one more review, we will actually go ahead and get these printed ASAP, and that way we have them available in May. So you have printed copies of this in front of you as well. And while you're taking a look at that, what we also have is, we discussed having information on the website, because obviously a trifold brochure is only going to hold so much content. And so we need to make sure that we have another avenue for citizens to look up things. As an example, we can't fit a map in the trifold. If we did a map in the trifold, we'd lose all the space. And so you'll see in the trifold that there's a QR code that references a map on the city website. But the website, obviously, we have room to put as many things as we want out there. So as we start building different programs, or if we have guest speakers and things like that we want to advertise for, we can do it through a one-page or several-page PDF. And so what I did was actually design that PDF so it's kind of in line with the style of the brochure. So whenever anybody sees this with the historic images at the top, they know it's something to do with historic preservation in St. Cloud. So as an example, when we get to the point where we create our plaque and awards program, the information for the plaque and awards program would be in this template. So they would be styled like this. Each one would have a different header about what the content is. So this is not intended to be printed and handed out. This is intended to be something where somebody could go to the website and they can print it off if they'd like.
Or they could enlarge it to look at it in a
Yeah.
bigger format. I have a question, this is because of my lack of knowledge about QR codes. When you say to scan a QR code below, do you mean take a picture of it with your camera?
You can do that. So with most smartphones right now, if you just hold your phone in the camera mode above the QR code, it will actually pop up with the link on the screen, and you could tap the link and it'll jump to that.
Okay,
So if you have a smartphone, and if you don't, for people who don't, right below the QR code is the URL. So they could do it one of two ways. They
Okay.
could do that with their phone, or they could type right below the text that's there, and it would jump them to the location.
okay. No, I've been afraid to go near QR codes.
When we take a little break, I'll show you. It's so easy. It's you just open your camera function and hover it above there.
Okay.
And there was talk several years ago about how no one was using QR codes anymore, and then COVID happened, and everybody started using QR codes, so I feel like it's something that people are really used to using now, so I think it's a good idea to have it on the brochure.
Will the images on, because I just pulled it up real quick, will the images
be changed to match this and the font that's on the images? That like header image right under historic preservation
Which one?
on the site.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you're pulling up the website?
Yeah, I just made sure it was working, sorry.
That's okay. We have changes that we have to do with the
Still,
website, for
okay.
sure, yeah.
I'm not sure I'm clear on this. So what goes on the website? This first page that we see here?
So the website will have all the information. People could get the trifold from the website if they want.
Oh,
And then this information separate, but not left on
oh, okay.
So
All right.
basically, these two pieces right here, let me just do a little mock-up so you can see. You'd imagine that these here are an actual trifold that would be at various locations, the library, the museum, city hall, etc. And so this would actually be a printed trifold that would be distributed at various locations. Additionally, we will have a PDF of this on the website, so if people are not receiving the trifold in person, they can still get it from the website. The item that we're not printing, but will only live on the website is this.
That one.
So that
Okay.
one-page PDF where we can continually add information and have a series of PDFs. I know Savannah, New Orleans, different historic districts will have pages and pages of PDFs of differing information. To explain things like design guidelines or window repair. So that's the vision for this, is
Got it.
ultimately
Okay.
to grow your historic preservation board library. And that would be accessible through that webpage.
Well, it'll be nice to have
you.
something out there because I understand there's a really cute little house very close to City Hall that has done some fantastic improvements to it, and it probably hasn't come in for any sort of a permit.
Okay.
They've added
Yeah,
a
I just
new
folded it.
window in the front and just cut down a lot of trees.
Yeah, that's all the
Do
wrong
you-
stuff getting changed.
Yes. Did you see it?
There's several.
We
Yes.
should know about this, but
Well,
if you wanna look at the.
Yeah. But there's nothing you can do now that it's done.
Well, I mean, they should still come in for after the fact approval, because there might be more work that they're planning to do. But, to say that nothing can be done, if somebody's doing
They,
work
I
without a
suspect,
C of A, they could be
I
forced to reverse
suspect
it.
they didn't know.
Yeah,
It looks much better than it did before.
so, HPB is the Historic Preservation Board. I like to tease all board members that I work with that it's not the look better board. So we really should still review it, is it the
Yeah,
only?
but
Well,
people get caught up in
I would
that.
just recommend you look out your window this
Okay.
direction. It's a pretty blue house now. It's been painted. Has a window put in the front with white trim. It's really cute.
Okay.
Which side of the street, Tony?
I think it's like it would be behind City Hall.
So
right
it's
over
on the
here.
east side, not the west side?
On this side over
It's
here.
probably city-owned.
No, it's private
They haven't
owned.
been recording for the work
Are you
session
sure?
Yeah,
since
because
Because
I
there's
knew-
three houses
required
right here
different
that the
things, like
city.
they've been going back
I
and forth,
I
so
knew
it's not
the
recording, but I'm taking
mother
notes, so
of the
don't worry.
previous owner.
Okay.
It's the new owners that have done this.
Okay.
So do you all have any questions about the brochure?
No, I think it looks great,
I think it looks fine.
really nice.
Do we need to vote on it or just tell you yes?
I'm gonna have you vote on it during the regular
meeting.
Okay.
And that way it's in the minutes, and then I can
Yes.
proceed
And
with getting the
I,
printing.
I've read through it, but the only thing I would request is there be a really good hard spell check done on it before we print a bunch of them and post it online.
Certainly.
And not just a spell check, but for double words, you know, like the twice and, 'cause sometimes those types of errors don't get picked up.
I will make sure that at least 3 other people review it before I print it.
Okay, 'cause my eyes aren't the best at that.
And Christine, once you get ready to put this on the city side or the HPB side, if you all could send it to Main Street, we'll put it on the St. Cloud Historic Preservation Facebook page as well.
That's
That
great.
way they'll know they can come back to that page.
Perfect. We will definitely do
And
that.
also maybe an email to us letting us know it's been uploaded
Perfect.
so that it's there.
Will do. Okay, so I know I don't have it on here, but I want to go ahead and bring this up because we've had some ongoing discussions about May being National Preservation Month. And so I have a couple of ideas, and I talked to the communications director for the city, Mariama Batchelder. Batchelder, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, do you know? We'll say Batchelder. And she's been really awesome. So she's offered up some city swag, and she actually had the idea of doing a social media contest where I would give her trivia, so historic St. Cloud trivia, and people could respond through social media. And people who respond correctly, we would actually put their name into a drawing, and we would draw names, and whoever wins would get this little swag thing that we're putting together with, like city coffee cup and just various things like that. I'm also working, if any of you know of any donations that might be able to occur from local businesses that may want to contribute to this in honor of Preservation Month, that would be great. And then what we would do is at the following meeting, we would actually have them come to the meeting so we could take photos with the board with this person with their gift, their trivia gift. So,
Christine, we can probably provide some stuff from Main Street. We
Okay.
have like postcards and, different historic things that we can add to it.
that would be perfect. And I know you and I talked about the potential of adding a ghost tour for Main Street in there. So whatever we could put together in advance of the May meeting would be great, because I'd like to list what would be the little gift that this person, whoever winds up winning, would get. But I'm sure that we're going to have multiple people giving correct answers, and so that's why we'll take the correct answers and then we'll put them in a drawing. So that's the plan for that. The other thing is for National Historic Preservation Month, what a lot of communities do is they do a proclamation to observe National Historic Preservation Month. And I know that for multiple years, the proclamation has been done. It's been done with the Osceola County History Museum. And so this year, what I want to do is I want to do it with that museum and the other entities like Main Street, HPB, and all of that. And so that would be.
And the Heritage Museum.
And the Heritage
Yep.
Museum, yeah.
That'd be
So,
great.
so we would have it inclusive of more organizations that are practicing history-related
Oh, our-
things in St. Cloud. And
The Heritage Museum here in St. Cloud is practicing history.
absolutely. I am very well aware of that.
No. I do have a question, because I don't know if we can do this or not, but it would be interesting to see if staff or council would let us do this, is we have the documentary we put together a year ago that has the unveiling of the cemetery, the National Register of the Women's Club and Heritage Museum, the new mural, and Fisk Funeral Home marker that we could play for the audience that evening
Oh, I
at the
love
same
that.
time, if they would allow that time.
So I already talked to Veronica about how much presence we could have at the council meeting, and she said basically none. The council agendas are already packed, but she said what we could do is do what we want to do during the HPV meeting, and that we can invite any council
So
members.
maybe we do that and we open it to the public and tell them we're doing the documentary. It might get people here.
And
Yeah.
invite council members to come.
Yeah, that's what she just said.
Yes, and
And
I
then
know that at least Mr. Askew will come, and so will,
The mayor will come because he's in it.
yes, and the young gentleman that's new on the
Colby.
board, Colby, he will come.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll put that off.
Yeah,
out there
so
then
we
for sure.
can work on that, yeah. So just let me know, we'll get the link over and.
Excellent. And so the other thing is we want to not only do that through social media, because anytime you do a contest, then there's engagement, and that's what you want when you do social media posts, is to have that engagement, but also to feature weekly during National Preservation Month, something historic preservation related. And so I have no shortage of material, but I would look at your suggestions for what you want posted. What I have right now would be posting about buildings. I'm actually working on the National Register nomination for St. Cloud. St. Cloud Main Street is the organization that got that grant, and I've been working on that. So I have a lot of history on different buildings in town and just history in general on St. Cloud. So I can go ahead and create those and give them to the communications director if you'd like me to just take control of that, or if you want to give me some suggestions tonight about what we can present on social media during the month of May. Any ideas or suggestions?
I don't know, we seem like we have a lot of stuff we can do. Launch our plaque program.
Well, that's still working on that, so, yeah, that won't be ready in time for this for sure. Just as an example for the social media post, the post itself would include just a short blurb and a photograph, so a historic image. But for more information, they can click through that social media post to our webpage, and then we would have more information on whatever it is we're discussing. So say if we pick the Heritage Museum, you know, there's a lot to talk about the Heritage Museum, that it started as the library. It was designed by 2 female architects. You know, there's a lot of information about the architectural styles, but we would have a little blurb, and then they can follow through to the website. So that is one of the properties that I was aiming to have out there. But again, looking at your suggestions of what you'd like
Well,
to see.
and St. Cloud High School, I don't know if everyone knows how many years it's been in existence.
How many?
It's over 100.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
The new school?
St. Cloud High School on 17th Street, it's maybe been in many buildings, but the school has
Well,
been
it's,
in.
but yes.
Yeah.
I thought
Right,
you meant
yeah.
building,
The
yeah.
school has been in operation over 100 years.
Yeah,
'Cause I
the name
attend-
St. Cloud High School, it's
Yeah.
not been in the same building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been, but the principal is quite proud that it's been in operation over 100 years. I think the.
Well, then they need to get in line behind Osceola.
That was for you.
That's right. We need to keep
We're just saying.
You're just saying. Well, I went to Muck Tuck. I'm just kidding.
Well, that explains a lot, Tony.
What about the possibility of doing a then and now photograph along with it?
Sure.
Or as part of the contest, a photo now and see if they can identify it then?
Okay. Meaning they would have to find a historic photo? for
Oh,
No, but if you have the if you put the now photo up and you give them a selection of photos to identify the now location, some of them may be fairly easy.
Right.
Some of them may not, because there's a lot of new construction that has taken place. They may not recognize the old building, they may not recognize the old location.
Right.
It encourages them to dig a little more into the history. It might even get them to take a trip to the Heritage Museum to look through some of the photographs.
That would actually be a good idea. So is
Still
the
money.
Heritage Museum open by appointment only?
oh, no.
No, we're
It's just,
open.
okay.
No, we're open Thursday through Saturday from 11 until 3. And then if some people want to come at another time, they just have to let us know, and we can usually make arrangements for them to come in after we're usually closed. You know, some people are only here for a week or so, or, you know, the days don't coincide with when we're open. So, yeah, we do some things like that.
Yeah.
On another subject, you and I had talked one time about the organizations that were over 100 years old, and I'll get that information to you too, because that might be something to include, so, you know.
Absolutely.
Because I have all that.
And the sooner
There
you-
are a few that are over 100 years old.
The
Like
sooner you
ours.
could get any suggestions, like as you leave here today and are thinking about it, anything, just within the next week or so, because I do have to give Mary Ann the lead time. I can't just spring these on her at the last minute, so I do have to give it to her in advance. So,
Yes, like the Women's Club is over 100 years old.
Yeah, oh, I know, that comes right up on top, but there are some other ones.
they've done a lot of work in
Other organizations that are
town.
over 100 years old that are still in existence, so, yeah, that would be a wonderful way to recognize them, because they probably haven't been recognized in maybe 50 years.
Probably.
You know,
Right,
so,
good. We're going so quickly through this. So I did have one more thing for our work session to discuss, and think about, and hopefully by the time we do the regular meeting and you all do your votes, you can have a good idea if this is gonna work for you. But I learned last week that this board actually has a budget, which is fantastic, to attend the Florida Preservation Conference. It's called Preservation on Main Street, and it's a partnership between the Florida Trust for Historic Preservation and Florida Main Street. This year it's in DeLand, and so the city has actually funded for the board members to attend this meeting. So they would pay for your conference registration, and I believe you'll also get a per diem. I have to double check that. It's in DeLand in July. So I would encourage you to pull it up on your phones or what have you, but I need to get an answer to her, meaning the department director, within a reasonable time frame. So it would be nice if we could do it as a vote during the meeting of who's gonna go, or if all of you are gonna go. But if we can't, that's okay. I know I'm telling you this today and shouldn't expect an answer today. But definitely within the next week or two, I should probably give her an answer because it ties into their budget that they're working on.
What day in July? Hang on, I've got it. You got, and what was the name of it again?
It's Preservation on Main Street is the name of the conference. And Stephanie, that would include you.
It is, I think it starts on the 27th.
27th? Is
It's
that
the
a Saturday?
27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. It
So is it
usually
the
wraps
30th?
up on the 30th, on the Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. And we're looking to go to one day of it, not all three, is that correct?
You could go, there's money budgeted to go to multiple days.
Yeah. Do they have their program out yet?
Not yet. They're still working on that.
They
yet.
will have, on Thursday evening is their Secretary of State Awards. Thursday evening's dinner is that night.
Which that one is always nice to attend, and it really would be great for you all to attend and see that, because they accept applications every year for potential award properties, or with the Florida Trust, what we call the 11 to save. So we find endangered properties across the state, and we highlight 11 for the year. Florida Trust has a collaboration with Florida Frontiers on NPR, so we do a feature once a month on one of the 11 to save properties. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in St. Cloud, it could be in Osceola County. But as Paula was saying, going to the awards and being able to see the kind of projects that they look at for awards or for the 11 to save is really will give you a lot of ideas of what we could do in St. Cloud and how we can highlight it. And it's really awesome. It's nice to be, for your community to be recognized on a statewide level for a project, so definitely.
Well, and I'm submitting our nominations this week, and typically we do win something every year. So Main Street most likely will be there. So you guys could be there and help us, pick up our awards.
Yeah, which is always fun and nice.
And we're at in DeLand, is it at a hotel or is it?
They find different locations.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all the venues yet.
So when they do the conference in communities, they try to spread it out in the community and really get people into different historic buildings so they can learn the history of them and all of that. And so
They have tours, and,
Yeah.
because they'll have like side things, and so tours of different things that you can do and
Okay.
stuff like that. And DeLand's really pretty.
Yeah,
I've
it
never
is.
been there.
DeLand has actually been recognized as a national Main Street
Has it?
community, yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty up there.
they have a pretty vibrant commercial scene in the downtown, and they do a lot of events. So they're doing a lot of good work over there. One of the things, if you all do decide to collectively go as a group, it would be fun if we could do our own little breakout. So that could be anything. I used to own property in DeLand. I'm very, very familiar with DeLand. So it could be something where I give you a walking tour, or we do a lunch or something like that. But if you do decide to go, it would be nice to connect during the conference.
Okay. You want us to email you and let you know what?
If you think you're going to attend, if you can let me know during the regular meeting when I bring this up again for just brief discussion during the regular meeting, just to get a general idea. And then for a final confirmation, like email me within, the next week or so would be helpful.
Okay.
That's actually all I had for the work session. I thought you all were gonna take a lot more time on the brochure, so,
It's fantastic.
good. I'm happy you guys like
I
it.
have to look at.
You're starting to look like a real polished board now.
Oh, my goodness. It's official.
So, does anybody have anything they want to add for new business with the work session?
I was just wondering if it had been discussed at one of the meetings I might have been absent at, starting an Instagram page.
So,
I don't
we can,
recall.
yeah, we
some-
can only do social media through the city's official social media account.
Okay,
And so that would be anything that we want to post, and they're not doing Instagram to my knowledge. We just have discussions around Facebook.
okay.
So anything that we want to do. That's not to say that you as a board member can't promote Historic St. Cloud. You know, when I travel to different communities, I usually do posts. That's something that we could talk about is coming up with maybe a hashtag that we could use, because it's just a hashtag. So maybe our hashtag we pick is just hashtag Historic St. Cloud. So you can individually post and use that hashtag. That would be great.
So if we do decide on a hashtag, could we add it to this? Should we discuss it at the same time before this goes out to print, or like,
I would keep it off of the brochure.
okay,
That would be something where we would probably need more conversation. I want to make sure there's nothing that slows this down, because I want to really
Right.
stay on track with the different goals that you all have. But I will say that for the first printing of this, I'm going to do a small printing. So if we want to add to it later, after we, you know, we can ask the
Right.
communications director about adding the hashtag and all. So when we deplete that first printing and go to the second printing, there may be feedback from people that we get that we might tweak some of the language in here, or maybe we omit a few things to add a few more things in. So we'll let it get circulated out in the community to determine what little tweaks we want to do, and then we'll do another printing. So I'm purposefully reserving some of that budget that was granted toward this, to make sure that we are able to circulate at least one round. We don't want to be stuck with brochures that, you know, later on, and we say, oh, we wish we had done this differently, and now we have a stack of brochures like this.
Right.
So I will make note of that, and then we can discuss when we're going to the next printing, how we might want to tweak it.
perfect.
I have a question.
Yes?
I was looking over some of the past minutes, and there was a mention of a motion to request funds from the city council or the city manager for the plaque and award program. Is that the historic plaques? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Just, I wasn't sure if that was the plaques
Yes.
that y'all were referring to.
So, and just to let you know where we are with that, so that is something that the city has recognized, and we discussed, as you see in the minutes, that there's funding that will be created for that. But the deputy city manager really wants me to focus on creation of the tax incentives first.
Okay.
So I'm prioritizing where I am with that. So I'm trying to get past a couple of things before I bring that back to you. So
Okay.
we'll come to you this year, but it's not going to be in the next month or two, because we have to work through that first. And I have a couple of separate meetings I have to schedule. One of them is on the tax incentives with the deputy city manager and the city attorney. It's something that is listed in the ordinance, a reference to the tax incentives, but the program was never created. So we want to create it,
Right.
and we want to offer the tax incentives for people who are rehabbing these buildings.
So now, in the past, there was a charge for the homeowner to get the plaque. Is the plaque going to be completely covered now?
It's like a match.
Is it a match?
At least that's what's being proposed. We have to make that decision.
We haven't defined that yet, but there should always be some buy-in from the property owners on this.
Okay.
Now, what some communities do is they tie it into preservation awards. So some communities will, if the property wins an award, then give it as a gift for winning the award. But usually not just say you have a historic building and you want a plaque on your building. That's a
Okay.
want that you have, and there should be some financial contribution. So like Member Stark said, potentially some kind of a match, but that
Okay.
hasn't all been approved yet. This is all just the ideas that we've been discussing. So
Okay.
that will definitely be coming back to HPB at a future meeting,
Okay.
as is going to be the design guidelines. So we had a little bit more conversation about the design guidelines too. And so we have an open grant cycle right now. for the, what's called the small matching grant, which is up to $50,000 through the state, and the special category grant, which is up to $500,000 on an actual rehab project. So we're talking about going after the special category grant. With St. Cloud being a certified local government, there's no grant match required. And then we have the benefit that we have a Main Street in our town, and Main Street can apply for the grant too. So I've been coordinating with Paula, and we actually have a meeting with the Main Street Board tomorrow to discuss how we can actually achieve 2 projects instead of 1 by our groups working together.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that I talked to the deputy city manager about, is potentially we pursue that small matching grant for doing the design guidelines. There's a question about whether or whatnot we need to, because there might be some money in the budget, and so I'm waiting to hear back on that. But the applications are due by June 1. So in May, I'll be presenting to you what St. Cloud, City of St. Cloud, not necessarily the board, but the City of St. Cloud will be pursuing. And that will come after conversation, like I said, with the deputy city manager, and also figuring out what Main Street is gonna be going for, which, will they make their decision tomorrow night, or is that discussion tomorrow night?
It could be decided tomorrow night, or it may just be discussed and then decided at a later date. But they're going to have to hurry up because I have to work it into my schedule.
Yeah, yeah, and the thing with us is, if we apply, saying the City of St. Cloud applies for that special, small matching grant, it has to get on a city council agenda to be approved to go after that grant. And so there won't actually be time to come back to HPB to discuss these projects. So that's why I'm working with that directly with the deputy city manager. Because we need to make sure that we get that timing to get it on the agenda, because the state won't even accept the app if they see that city council hasn't supported it.
Well,
Thank you.
there isn't time unless HPB had a special meeting.
Is that something that you're suggesting? Do you have other projects than the ones that we've discussed and prioritized that you would want to
No,
think
but
of?
if we're in danger of missing out on a grant, being eligible for a grant just because we can't act on something in time to get it to city council, I'm not opposed to having a special meeting for that one item. Don't stack the agenda.
Do you have an idea of what you want that to be? Because what we're talking about is doing the design guidelines. So that's the conversation I've had with the deputy city manager, and that was based on the board already prioritizing what they wanted to have happen.
Well,
So
it
we don't-
depends on what the rest of the board thinks is important.
Well, we as a board kind of have put the design guidelines as a priority on our goal list.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, maybe I didn't say that clearly enough. The only reason why we would need to have HPB meet to discuss this is if you all have a project outside of what we've already identified that you want to pursue. If not, we've already had those discussions, and that is what we would be pursuing, would be either funding for the plaque and awards or funding for the design guidelines.
Funding for the design guidelines.
Yeah. And that is, like I said, what I had discussed with the deputy city manager.
In our discussions, what we anticipate is Main Street will apply for the grant for the overlay, the historic overlay.
Right.
So that we don't have to kick that can way down the road, that we can go ahead and simultaneously move that forward.
Okay.
So we would have that to work with as well.
Okay, and I think it's time to stop the work session so those that are hungry can eat before we start
Are
the
you hungry,
meeting.
Tony?
Absolutely.
No, I never eat till I get home or I'd fall asleep.
I don't have anything else, so yes, that
Okay.
would be perfect. Good. All right, see you in 15 minutes.
Go get my little snack.
Yeah, I just get thirsty.